I think it's really kind of a very basic set of principles. And this was told to me by a mentor in my time, and I will pass it down on to your audience. I think is a really key gem that I think about all the time, as my North Star, if you will. This came about some years back when I was having a walking, talking, where do you want to be in 10 years sort of career conversation with my boss at the time. I was head of engineering. He was CTO. Where do you want to be? And I was like, I want your job, man. I want to be CTO one day. He's like, great, cool. Like, what do you think a CTO does? I'm like, well, a CTO does this and this and this and this. He's like, yeah, nope, that is all wrong. I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I've been around the block. I know what a CTO does. He's like, no, listen, if I'm doing my job correctly, I do two things. I set the vision and strategy for what needs to happen, and I make sure they have the right people to do it. Full stop, right? Now, two things, as soon as I processed that, two things immediately occurred to me. The first one is, oh, that's like a North Star. Like, the reality is much like site reliability. We talk about site reliability in terms of nines, right? Everybody knows 3 nines, 4 nines of reliability. The reason we say that is because we know that 100% is sort of unachievable, right? Like, you're always going to get as close to it as possible, ideally, but you never get all the way there, right? So I'm never going to have a perfect equation if I only ever set the vision and then hire the people and then I just do nothing, right? Like, it's always going to be stuff in between. But every time I find that stuff in between, I just go, wait a minute. I should have either explained to somebody or delegated to somebody. I've done something wrong here, right? Let me think about that. So it's like that constant North Star. The other thing I realized was that's not really germane necessarily just at CTOs. That can be really at all people leader levels of all disciplines, right? Is that when you think about it, your job as a leader is to make sure that everybody that you're leading understands what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then they have the right tools, environments, colleagues, whatever it is, to be successful with that thing, right? And if you're focusing on those two things as a leader and you're able to nail them, that's like 90% of the job.